H.R. McMaster started off by saying the premise of the article was false. He went on to say that the president wasn't giving any information that wouldn't have been passed on in, a regular conversation with allies, and that it was wholly appropriate to that conversation. Does that put the matter to bed now?
No. He said that it was, quote-unquote, wholly appropriate, but he declined to say whether or not the information that was given to the Russian diplomats, top Russian diplomats, last week here at the White House was classified or not. He also said that he believes that such leaks do put national security at risk, though he declined to suggest whether or not, as the Washington Post originally reported, there was calls placed from President Trump's inner circle to the top intelligence officials within the administration to soften the error as it was portrayed in the Washington Post. But this was clearly a clear rebuttal of that reporting. They feel that the leaks are detrimental to national security, but the questions are only going to continue. Of course, earlier today, Vonnie, I spoke with the Senate Majority Leader who said that they need to have a little bit, quote unquote, less drama coming out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The drama, though, Vonnie, as we just saw moments ago inside the Brady briefing room, is continuing. It's a busy day, Bill Faries, for you in particular, because the Turkish president is about to arrive at the White House next. I do want to ask you a little bit about what H.R. McMaster said, though. He said that there was nothing shared here that you wouldn't know from open source reporting. He was referring to specific countries that might have come up in that conversation and, where the U.S. might be getting some information. He also said that nobody in that room thought that anything that was said was inappropriate. Does this mean that potentially he is now compromised?
He in terms of McMaster?
Yes.
Well, we're still talking about, we're not exactly sure what we're talking about in terms of the type of information or where it came from. McMaster said something very interesting at the end, that he's not sure the president was aware of where this intelligence came from. So I don't know if that was the message he wanted to end the briefing on. It suggests that maybe the president wasn't briefed fully on some of his intelligence sources, or it suggests that they didn't think that he would ever decide to divulge any of this information. So I think what McMaster just did, particularly at the end, raises a lot more questions in the intelligence community's eyes, and it will raise questions on Capitol Hill.
Yes, I noticed that as well. And then he rushed to ask for a last question and sort of made the Turkish arrival a little bit the excuse. What do you think that could point to? I mean, Bill, you've been, reporting around the Hill for the last couple of days. What's your sense? Was this information that might put U.S. lives in danger, or might, uncover covert operations?
Right. I mean, that's the big question here. When we talk about what kind of information was shared, are we, there's two big risks here. One is the risk that countries with far better intelligence assets on the ground in places like Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, may be less willing to share that information with the United States. The second, of course, is that you put people on the ground who are providing that information, you put their lives at risk. And remember, President Trump is about to head off on an 8-day trip. He's going to visit Saudi Arabia. He's going to visit Israel. He had a conversation this morning with the King of Jordan. These are all the countries that are literally on the front lines of the battle with ISIS. So there's, in some ways, there's a lot more at stake for them in terms of deciding what do we share with the U.S. Can we trust the U.S. to keep our secret information secret?